This one feels like a true love letter to kind of the just batshit crazy like VHS 80s movies we were getting. There's obviously a lot of like giallo influence on this. But it has a level of insanity to it.
Yeah.
And it's kind of this pitch perfect. It's just like beautiful style, insane reveal. The music in this movie is incredible. And so I don't know. I think this is my favorite of his horror creations. Greetings, friends! Welcome back to the Messed Up Movies Podcast, a podcast celebrating movies and filmmakers that embrace the unhinged, the insane, the outrageous, the off-kilter, and the all-around kind of messed up fun you can't take your eyes off of. Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Griffey, joined as always by friend, co-host, and thing growing out of the back of my head,
Alex Dandino. Folks,
that's right.
Do you like social media?
We know you do.
We know you do. We're all over it. We're on the same platforms you are. I know you love it. Talk to us. Love us. Have conversations. Tell us what movies are messed up that you want to hear.
Give us self-worth.
Also, you can email us, of course. What's our email now, Griff? It's no longer Film
Misfit Parade Productions at gmail.com if you just want to get in the nitty-gritty. That's fine. Yeah, we got a YouTube, Misfit Parade. Go subscribe over there. Watch our newest short film, Sugar Tits. The best way to support the show, grow the show, go to the Messed Up Movies Podcast Patreon, patreon.com/Messed Up Movies Podcast. Grow the show, vote on the show. We're going to have our first vote this month for our Messed Up exclusive movie. Lots of fun stuff over there. Alex and I are starting a Black Mirror miniseries to go with our Tales from the Crypt miniseries, our Creep Tapes miniseries. So much good stuff. TikToks, Reels, Instagram, Shorts, all that stuff. We also need you to do 5-star ratings and reviews wherever you find the pod. All right, Alex. It was hard to even get through the business on this one because we're talking about an absolute batshit insane COVID delight. Malignant. 2021's Malignant. Would you like to hit us with the key deets?
Of course. Malignant, 2021 horror film directed by James Wan, a screenplay by Akilah Cooper. Starring Annabelle Wallis as a woman who begins to have visions of people being murdered, only to realize those visions might be real.
Oh my God. Yeah.
So Warner Brothers, this was one of the movies that got released on HBO Max by Warner Brothers simultaneously as it did the theater release. It was one of the ones that everybody
loved. Watched it right in my living room. It was great.
I thought it was great. I mean, 2021, that was the way you did it. I understand. I mean,
yeah, this will always be famous as a COVID movie, right?
Yeah.
Here's where I think we should start. James Wan might be the greatest horror director we have that I feel like we don't acknowledge when we talk about, like, who are the great, like, modern horror filmmakers, right? You got your Jordan Peele's. Ari Aster made 2, and now he's off doing whatever the fuck Bo was. Robert Eggers, obviously, dropping heat on us all the time. A lot of great up-and-coming horror directors that we all talk about and kind of debate their, like, position in the new hierarchy. Let's just go through James Wan, dude, starting in 2003. Saw, Dead Silence, Insidious, The Conjuring, both of those became massive franchises, right? The Conjuring has like 10 goddamn movies. Insidious has 2 movies coming out this year, which is insane if you've ever watched an Insidious movie. And then Malignant, right? Which might be my favorite of the James Wan horror movie. Is James Wan the most underappreciated horror director we've got?
The director of Aquaman? Yeah, probably. I think...
horrific in different ways. Actually, I like Aquaman. I just wish it was 1 hour shorter.
I think because he took this sojourn into superheroville.
Fast and the Furious. He's done some
Fast
other
and the
work.
Furious. Yeah. Like, he's done other things besides horror movies, and I think because of that, we don't... Like, he gets sort of, like, excused from the conversation a lot of the time, but no, I mean, like, I think he is a modern horror master along with Mike Flanagan. Like, he's the same kind of guy, I think, a lot of the time. Him and again, him and Lee Wannell are the reason that, a lot of the genre exists at this point. So I think that James Wan has to be in the conversation as like a modern horror master. The difference is he's just done stuff other than horror, and everyone's like, whoa, okay.
Horror will always exist to be fun. We could get by on our whoever's, dude. We've got Winnie the Pooh horror multiverse coming out this year. Horror is perfect. I think the fun thing about him, though, I love James Wan, but I do feel what I like about Malignant especially, I feel like James Wan is kind of the king of the jump scare horror movies, which are not necessarily my thing. We all know the Conjuring equation, right? And I do think the Conjuring 1 and 2 are just incredible, right? And what it is it's this, you know it's coming, and this incredible tension building, right? The old Hitchcock, the bomb under the table is what makes the conversation a movie scene, right?
Right.
The way he's able to do that, even though we know it's coming, and still pay those off, by the time you're on like The Nun 2, you're like, well, this isn't working for me anymore. That's fine. La Llorona, right? You're like, these are not good. But that's fine. But I think his style of that, it has kind of a carnival ride vibe to it, right? The little machinations of it are just so much more omnipresent that maybe we don't give him the credit of like, Hereditary or The Witch or whatever. I do think Malignant is my favorite horror movie he's ever made. This one feels like a true love letter to kind of the just batshit crazy like VHS 80s movies we were getting. There's obviously a lot of like Giallo influence on this. Sure. But it has a level of insanity to it.
Yeah.
And it's kind of this Pitch Perfect. It's just like beautiful style, insane reveal. The music in this movie is incredible. And so, I don't know. I think this is my favorite of his horror creations.
I'm not sure I'd go with incredible, but
You didn't like the music?
I think the sound ups are very specific. Again, like I said this before.
It's in your face. James Wan is an in-your-face horror filmmaker, though.
If this movie had come out in like 1997, I think this would have been the
Had this happened instead of Saw, we'd be on fucking Malignant 18.
We'd be on Malignant 20. It's not that it's. I think it's interesting you bring up the music because that's honestly like the one thing I took. Like I tried to take as many notes as I can during the movie. This one I did not take any notes except for the first thing I was like, Jesus, this music.
Yeah, this is oppressive.
But again, like the music is also like it feels very 1997. Like I was just
but it's kind of fun, and as we get into that like theater of the mind level. It's almost like she's scoring, or Gabriel's like the shittiest DJ.
Yeah.
Right? Like Gabriel takes the aux cord and he's like, I want to blast your eardrums out.
Gabriel's like, hey, guys, give me a second. I'm going to put on Finger 11 and then Static X right afterwards. You're like, okay, wow, all right.
Gabriel can ride in the car with me, brother. I'm ready.
Cool. Gabriel is stuck at 1999, and that's fine.
Gabriel's like, I like new metal. I just don't like that poppy Limp Bizkit shit. I'm on Fingy 11. And you're like, nice, dude.
Whoa.
Dapping each other up. All right, let's talk. One of the things I liked about the movie, I don't know if you agree. I thought they did a pretty good job in a movie that ultimately is kind of like a camp classic style to me. Mm-hmm. I thought they added some real world horrors that I thought were interesting.
Okay, I think they added real world horrors and then rapidly swept them under the rug to make way for the rest of the movie. Like the beginning of this movie.
Yes.
The beginning of the movie and then the credits, like that's notwithstanding. When we get to like the beginning of the movie where we meet Annabelle Wallis and that kind of thing, like something horrible is actually happening to her. And it's like, oh my God. I'm like, whoa, dude, this is going to be a fucking like, this movie is going to take you there. And then it's like, also, and then, oh, never mind. We're just going to go right to it.
Well, we start on this big, like, gothic castle shot, and, like, some kind of thing with, like, little kid socks is, like, maiming everyone and psychically talking to the radio. They're like, it's time to cut out the cancer. His powers are growing. We can't stop him. Ah! Like, we know something awful and supernatural is happening, right? And again, I think the marketing did a pretty good job of not blowing it. We'll get to that. But when it cuts to just this reality of this woman who's pregnant and her husband, like they have that scene, it's crazy. And he goes, maybe you should stop getting pregnant. How many babies do you want to kill inside of you? And you're just like,
oh my God.
Holy dog
Whoa,
shit.
Dude. Jesus
Whoa.
Christ.
Like, we're like, because it goes from, all right, this is like a kind of Del Toro style, like madcap castle movie, into just a guy being the biggest prick. And you're like, what happened? Did I sit on the remote? I know it's COVID and time and space have no meaning to me anymore. What am I watching? And he incites the whole movie with his domestic violence, right? He fucking bashes her up against the wall, and the little, blood print on the back of the wall, this kind of like unlocks and untriggers everything. Bizarre, like, we'll get into some of the science of this. But I thought that stuff hit pretty hard, right? I think the thing with bringing in the mother who abandoned these children, right? I thought her moments at the end were pretty touching to me. So again, this movie wants to be a campy, fun movie at every turn. I think some of that extra stuff, though, helped me out personally. Like, it gave me because there's a long stretch in the middle where we're just doing, like, psychic transferences, right? Like, we're going in between murders and whatever, and the cops are kind of a part of it, but not a part that you're interested in. Touching back to, like, the sister relationship and what the choice this mother had to make when we get the Ring style, like, throwback videos. And she's like, my mama won't help me. Just help these children. Gabriel's the devil. I can't handle it. And it's like, well, yeah, you're like a 14-year-old mom. Of course you can't handle the fucking what we are watching in this movie. I thought that stuff was good, even if I'll give you that. It's light.
Oh,
it's
no,
not the meal.
Good.
It's an appetizer for sure.
The amuse-bouche of domestic violence at the beginning of the movie is...
Okay. When you say it like that, that makes it sound flippant and insane.
I mean, look, to be fair, it is, though. And I think that's like... It doesn't... By the way, this is the weird thing. It still works, but it is just like... It's like very briefly, domestic violence unlocks the whole thing. I'm like... That should be a major part of this, by the way. Like,
the movie just does
problem.
the, like, they find out that the husband's been hitting her, and the cop's like, there it is, she did it, we should throw her in jail. And you're like, I don't know if that's my favorite. Like, that we need justice to swing hard on the woman I just saw got accosted. That was kind of an aggressive swing. But I do think in the early segments of Gabriel, before we go full The Matrix with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that opening scene, right, when her husband gets got in the house, and there's the next sequence, right, where she kind of looks out in the streetlight and sees a shadowy figure, and she's trying to like kind of run and hide through it. They have that incredible shot where she runs up the stairs, and it's kind of this dollhouse perspective of the overhead. It's really just cool. Fucking cool, man. Just a cool ass moment. But that moment of this, like, her husband has been murdered. We don't seem like we should care or like we should be pumped, right? Like, this guy clearly is a piece of shit.
I mean, I was going to say, like, yeah, when it cuts back, and like, it's like really shadowy the next time you see him after, like, she like has the blackout, and you're like,
yeah,
oh, cool, his neck's broken. All right, great. I never have to see this guy again. Like,
yeah, good. Like, sometimes it's kind of like the whole thing we've been doing for a month where it's like, is it cool that a scumbag CEO who probably led to the death of thousands of people got killed? And you're like, well, it's not ideal. But, like, I'm also not crying into my milk about it. You know what I mean? Like, fuck around, find out. So this guy gets it. But then the ghostly figure of what seems like could be this specter of her husband haunting her. In that next moment, I thought that carried some nice weight that I liked. Then we cut to the sewers of Seattle, and we're just kidnapping some lady we have no idea from. Or who it is. Then she's chained up. She's like cocooned up against the wall of the world's #1 attic set that could never exist in the place it's supposed to. And they're putting on a suit and doing like a cool medical fucking murder weapon. You're like, oh, okay, we're not doing like the looming specter of abuse now. We're just doing a monster movie. But again, I did think that stuff was used well. Effective storytelling.
Swept under the rug almost immediately. Like, again, that's why I like it is like this. It's not flippant because I agree with you. Like,
no, it's not flippant. That's the #1 thing. Don't be flippant.
Flippancy is the wrong word, but it's so brief that you're just like, oh, I guess that's okay. It's inconsequential. Great. All right. Cool. Great. We'll just move right on.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Don't throw it in as just like something. Oh wow, that's wild. You gotta. And they give it heft, I think. Brief heft.
They give it a little bit of time. Just
brief heft.
Just a touch.
I don't know. I thought the layering of it was okay. Again, I think one of the problems with it is we have a lot of characters that aren't adding much to the movie. The sister is just kind of there to be like, I found a clue. And it's like, well, all right, I guess we need clues. Like, we're watching it. We know.
Well, this is also
it's
how
not
I felt
much of a mystery.
This is how I felt about the cops, too. Like, the cops
because the cops are like, we're also looking for clues, but also, like, her husband's dead. I might make a run at her. And it's like,
okay.
Whoa, okay. What?
Okay.
What?
I swear to God, that guy, the guy who plays the cop, I was just like, is he just here to will they, won't they for the rest of the movie?
Yeah.
Like, because I got to be honest,
hot cop,
I don't need
dude.
that.
Hot cop.
Hot cop.
What movie
cool,
doesn't
great.
need a hot cop? I don't know.
Everybody needs a hot cop. Everybody loves hot cops.
Yeah, I thought that was going to happen, and then it turns into like a fucking literal ninja brawl. They were rumbling through the Bronx, and it's like, all right, that's okay too. All right, we kind of danced around it. Gabriel, the character, the reveal. This is one of my favorite horror movie monsters of the last, 10, 15 years. Since 2010, I think Gabriel is one of the coolest movie monster creations we have had. Essentially, Gabriel is a twin that she ate during birth, right? Which usually just gives people, a cyst. Well, he is an absorbed but still fully functioning sentient being.
Yeah, so it's not...
Who somehow has gained supernatural powers.
Well, so it's not an absorbed twin. It's a parasitic twin. And,
right.
So, parasitic twins, again, if you do just Wikipedia research on this kind of thing... Okay. By the way, this is a really important thing.
We're not all on WebMD all the time like you, bro.
It's going to sound like I'm critiquing this. Yeah, I know. I'm a hypochondriac. But it's going to sound like a critique. I don't have a problem with this. Tangential Wikipedia research of how certain things work is totally fine, and that's how you should write these kinds of things. Going any further than just the base logic is a horrible idea.
Yeah, so, just the physics of, does she have a brain? Because Gabriel is also in there, his face, but
the parasitic twin. So the parasitic twin thing. First off,
Gabriel eats psychic energy. Does he poop inside of her? What do you poop psychic energy? I don't know.
So it's basic. So first off, it starts with the mom being like, they have the video of the mom being like, I can't take care of these kids no more. I can't do it. That whole thing. You're like, all right, I get it. I mean, it's tough. It's tough being a parent. And then they reveal
when you're a 15-year-old, yeah.
Revealing what it looked like. I was like, oh my God, who the fuck would ever take care of that? My God.
You're one of those, you're like, thankfully Henry came out cute.
Yeah, you're like, hey.
But see, that's the thing. So Gabriel lives inside of her. Yeah. The way they defeated Gabriel, this ultra-powerful monster from the opening scene, was they cut off all of his body except for the head where they couldn't. So essentially they just bolted, it's the whole of the Event Horizon, Lewis and Clark. They're just bolting extra skull over his face. And you're like, wait a second.
So they share...
Gabriel has psychic broadcasting powers.
So Gabriel has the ability to do everything else except for walk, apparently, because he's stuck on the back.
He's got to take the body over, yeah.
It's like Harry Potter. So,
yeah, it's a Voldemort.
What they do, they replace, they take out all his, because he has, a rib cage and little wing arms and shit. Yeah. So they take out all that stuff, and then they basically just they share a brain. They'll kill her so they basically just shove his brain inside her brain.
Yeah, they push his face as far as they can into the brain cavity. And then see, that's the thing. When the husband accosts her, he cracks the skull.
He cracks it open.
He cracks the skull, which feels like it should be a bigger deal than it is in the movie. I'll give you that one, too. Cracks her fucking head open, and that unleashes Gabriel. Gabriel's motives of, I'm the superior being, I want to take over, really what he wants is to get his mommy. He wants to destroy his mom and the scientist, who brutally chopped his whole body apart. You're like, that seems reasonable.
Not the worst motivation for an all-powerful psychic parasitic twin being.
So you made me a quadruple amputee who lives with my face smushed against extra skull plating? Yeah, I think I'm ready to come out and fucking fight you all. That makes sense. My other critique was they should have used a metal plate, like in The Adventures of Pete and Pete. Mom has a metal plate.
Yeah.
If you're gonna hide something this terrifying, that's that powerful,
that's a metal plate.
I feel like I feel like we're doing metal plate.
Yeah,
right. Like don't go get some like old fucking crusty cadaver skull. Put a metal.
We're
plate.
not just spackling cranium over this. Like this is the thing. You need the metal plate.
Give that girl like a full Mega Man helmet. That like like Juggernaut's helmet. It just is fucking stuck on there and immune to psychic powers. We gotta protect better than this. These doctors kind of had it coming, if we're being really honest. But I thought the reveal of that, right? Because then we start following this shadowy figure in black with the the ring hair right down in front of the face, murdering and maiming people. I thought the scenes of psychically teleporting to the crime scene while classic horror movie cheating were really fun, right? I thought the idea that they're connected and somehow she's connected to the killer. Okay, I'll say this. That scene where Gabriel's fully formed, and we kind of know what's happened now. We've seen the tapes of the... We know that Gabriel lives inside of her, right? They're doing the interrogation and the lights all pop. And they put her in... just a huge holding cell. Apparently the women of Seattle are just wild asses because there's like 30 people in there.
No, it's like a women in cages set, and you're just like, huh, okay,
yeah,
this is a huge jail cell for like 30 women.
Yeah, apparently they have a lot of women that get locked up overnight constantly because this is a gigantic cell. She's sitting in there, and they're like, it's not her, it's Gabriel, it's in her. And of course the lady with the truck stop mullet just runs up. She's like, hey, fucking dare you lick my boots. And they start kicking the shit out of her. When Gabriel stands up and unleashes, that feels like it's like 15 minutes of the movie is Gabriel just fucking annihilating everyone in that prison cell, smashing people through the fence, just maims, head smashes. And you're like, oh my God, like what a fucking set piece to pay off the end of this wild movie. And they're like, there's more. Gabriel then runs out into the bullpen and just fucking murders like 20
entire
cops.
Precinct.
If not murders, but like seriously, like Batman cripples and maims them. Like their lives are ruined. After what they've seen. That sequence, I was like, that is the kind of thing you don't get a lot in this kind of a horror movie. These giant action set pieces. What did you think as this madness was unfurling before you?
Oh, I mean, again, like all you're thinking the whole time is the same thing you are. Was like, holy shit! Like all these guys are getting like that's workers' comp forever. Like, good God. But no, I mean, when you're watching it, I don't know. There's some parts of it that are just because you're wrapped up in it. You're having a great time watching the scene. Like, and the sequence is fucking awesome because it's just righteous kills after another, and then. But then at the same time, you're also just like, man, this is a lot of work just to get out of prison. Like, I feel like after you kill everyone in the jail cell.
There's no amount of work that is too much to get out of prison.
I feel like after you kill everyone in the jail cell, all the cops are like, just walk out. I don't give a shit. Like, just go. You're good. Just whatever you got to do, go. Like, I think that's what sucks. It is
one of those, I'm like, the cops don't seem trigger happy enough. I know Gabriel's doing like parkour around the office. It's like, I feel like one of you guys should have at least winged her. You know what I mean? Like someone should have like got a stray in on it.
Anything. Like again, it's just one of those things where you're just like, no one even got their gun out. I'm like, guys, come on.
I think some people tried. They had like the shotgun, and it's hey, don't shoot at the desk. Wait until you can fucking see, and then shoot.
It was like that scene. It was like that scene in The Other Guys, like the desk pop. You're like, oh, I can't shoot my gun in the office. Like, all right.
Yeah. Not again. Yeah. I don't know.
This is like a collection of desk pop guys who all have wooden guns, apparently. I don't know.
Listening to Little River Band and just fucking getting murdered.
It was just like, again, it's a cool sequence. It's totally cool. There is just this like fascination though I have with just the effort it takes to get out of the police station. I'm just like, dude, just walk
it's
out.
One of those,
like,
dude, in a horror movie, to have that kind of action that's that beautifully choreographed, that beautifully photographed, you're just like, holy shit, dude. That gives it a unique and incredible feel. I think as the movie's starting to sag and you're like, all right, I guess we're doing like psychic connection murders on it.
It's a good pace resetter.
Yeah, that's where it feels so unique in the horror genre to me that I found myself just gluttonously like, yes, fucking pour it all over my face like Cracker Barrel gravy. I couldn't get enough of what they were giving me in this moment. And again, it gets to the hospital scene and they're trying to pay off these emotional threads that they hoped were enough with the mom and, you know, the sister. And it's like, oh, all right, I guess. You know, she takes her power back where she's like, no, Gabriel, you're trapped in here with me. She puts Gabriel in the fucking Wild Women of Seattle cell of the mind.
Yeah, and the giant, like, women in cages cell. And
you're like, I mean, that's cool. I'm sure you'll resummon him when you're getting the death penalty. I don't know if Oregon has the death penalty, but you're getting it. You fucked up a bunch of cops. You're going to jail or getting executed for certain. Like, she's not having a good rest of her life because she reasserts the control of her own body that I think the movie's hinting at the end. As soon as this movie ends, they are already like polishing. They're calling Tom Hanks and like, hey, we got another one for the mile. Wipe the chair down.
Okay, Washington does not have the death penalty, so she's just in jail forever. That's all.
Yeah, I'm sure on like her 5th day of eating the Jell-O, she's going to be like, or I could just, you know, get out of here. Like, I can just let Gabriel out, let him escape with the Hulk powers, because somehow he has preternatural abilities. He has enhanced everything. Let Gabriel get you out, and then you just reassert it. You're like, you go to Target, buy the Children of the Corn hat and the Taylor Swift outfit, and you just blend in as another white lady. She's for sure unleashing Gabriel again. There's no chance. Unless she has a long reading list she wants to get through. Like, she's not just staying in jail. Right?
No, I mean, you know, no. Like, there's no way she's just staying in jail. Like, come on.
No, you're definitely getting the fuck out. She didn't want to be in the first jail for 5 minutes. She's definitely breaking out of jail. I don't know. Maybe they'll bring back the death penalty after this movie. They'll be like, wait, what? A guy popped out of a lady's skull and killed 30 cops? Like, all right, we're not liberal anymore. It's time for murders. Like, we're changing the entire state's politics to handle this thing that we are very uncomfortable with. Wait, they have a castle where they're operating on psychic mutant children? Like, as legislators, we have not been paying attention. We have a lot of missing gaps.
I didn't say this at the top, but I do have to ask you, when the movie starts and it starts like, it's like this slow creeping shot towards the state hospital, that like giant hospital.
Yeah.
Did you think it was another production company logo coming up? Because I did for like 5 seconds.
No, I was just like, what is this, like Bavaria? I was like, am I watching A Cure for Wellness? Like, what's happening?
We had gotten through like three production company titles. I'm like, oh God, are we doing another one of these? This is a lot. This is a really
that would be the coolest production company logo of all time. That's a big budget production company.
Well, I mean, some of these production company logos now are insane. So sometimes when movies start on like these wides of giant buildings, I'm just like, production company logo? Oh no, it's the movie. Okay, cool.
Yeah, right. Okay,
that one's on me.
I don't know. I thought Gabriel was just incredible in this movie. The really action, cool. The violence, the murders are awesome in this movie. It's very bombastic, and when it hits, and that's James Wan's great gift. When he has to pay off a horror moment,
he does.
He delivers in bucket loads. Yeah. One thing I do want to discuss regarding James Wan and his horror movie making. No one loves the horror movie cheating more than James Wan. He is a classic horror movie cheater at every fucking turn.
Okay.
So my example I always use for what is horror movie cheating, right? This is the classic Saul problem one. Take away even the fact that you have to assume that they weren't aware that dude in the middle of the room where they're fighting for their lives is breathing. Take that away, right? All right. Maybe he's just a really shallow breather. Okay. The scene when Jigsaw gives the puzzle to the nurse orderly and he's got to go get the doctor's wife and kid, right? If this is a guy who's truly just being caught up in the moment, why is he holding a gun to a child's head and listening to their heartbeat? That's a level of psychopath that none of us would conjure in that moment as we're fighting for our lives. That's an intentional moment of narrative cheating to keep the mystery alive for but a moment longer, right?
Sure.
I will say this. I did not see this coming when I watched the movie the first time. I didn't see the Gabriel reveal coming at all. When you watch it the second time, they're telling you early and often exactly what is happening in this movie. Like, the breadcrumbs are often and pervasive, right? Which sure. I really thought was well done. I do have to say, I take a little bit of beef. This movie does cheat in many ways. I think the biggest cheat of the movie is one of the setups they had, which is, as she's psychically connected to the victims, right? Mm-hmm. They always show her, like, in bed or brushing her teeth, right? Like, she's physically very far away. They mask it at the end, right? When Gabriel's, like, murdering everyone in the cell, and we cut to, she imagines she's sitting on the fucking block, like, just chilling. Here's my question, though. If Gabriel is locking her away so that she doesn't realize she's the one doing the murders, like in the final scene in the jail cell, why is Gabriel showing her the murders so that she can prepare for him and or block, right? It's one of those things that doesn't make any logical sense in the movie.
But do you think he's actually showing her the murders, or do you think it's like a light leak, like on a camera, where it's just like, oh, it's a little peek, like a little something to get through?
No, because at the end, it's her sister that's calling to her that kind of breaks that separation. Okay. Also, I think Gabriel thinks he's won. At this point, Gabriel's best asset is that he's hiding within her, right? Mm-hmm. Like, it should have been a dead giveaway when he's doing everything backwards at the start of the movie that this was clearly her the whole time. But right. That psychic connection of she's very far away as these things are happening. When she fights the detective, she looks like she's about a foot taller than she is in the rest of the movie. And that could just be, he's got some clever Italian heels on, whatever.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's just got Tom Cruise lifts. That's fine.
Right.
Like,
I do think the psychic thing, though, it's not as egregious as stuff in Saw, but it is kind of classic horror movie cheating. Why would Gabriel show her that? She is one of the enemies Gabriel's trying to defeat.
I mean, do you think it's just a taunt, maybe? See,
I don't know.
I'll say this: Gabriel is quite the showman. If we're
Gabriel's a little cunty. There's no doubt about it. Like, he's got a little extra going. I don't know. I thought that was a little bit horseshit, and it's kind of one of those. I was like, all right, it's a James Wan movie. I expect these by now. Here's the one you cannot excuse in any way, shape, or form. Gabriel's attic lair. That is the biggest crock of shit set that has ever been built.
So clean.
Because there's a moment where Gabriel, or the mom escapes, right? She gets out of her cocoon, and she falls through the floor after they've done this hypnotherapy scene. And they're like, aha, that was her attic. Well, first off, I was like, how is she fucking falling through multiple stories of this tall house? Neither here nor there. Let's assume the attic is right on top of the living room, which, again, it cannot be. That fucking industrial grade fan, like the fans that Judge Dredd crawls through to get back into Mega City in the Stallone movie. There is no possible angle of that house where you have that fucking fan. That is specifically cheating in trying to tell us that this can't be her house and that it's somewhere not connected to her. That is bullshit. That set is horse shit. It looks cool, but it's designed with the effect of lying and obfuscating the truth so that we can do our big reveal. Here's the question, because I can hear people yelling at me already. Do you give a fuck?
Nah, I don't care.
You don't care about any of it. If the reveal's good, like this in Saw, no one cares.
I mean, it's not even that. Like, to be honest with you, we're at this point in horror movie franchise making living. Like, logic is really important for probably like 2% of the horror movie population.
Just a handful of A24 movies, that's it.
Yeah, there's like a handful of A24 movies that actually adhere to logic, and the rest of it is all pretty like, and
I get it. I'm yelling about industrial size fans in a movie where a person is in someone else's body.
It's not even that. It's like, okay, this giant attic set piece. It's like, also there's a huge window, and I'm like, how did you not know it was up there? Like, to be clear.
Well, I think that the fan doubles as the window where the awesome light pours through.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, how did you not know?
No one could hear her screaming? The fan's not blowing at like 100 miles
That's dumb. Like, there are, like, it's the one thing, I don't disagree with it. It's, like, inexcusable in a lot of ways in terms of, like, movie stupidity. But I mean, again, like you said, like, do you care? No, not
It doesn't
really,
matter.
I'm already on the ride. You
and
know?
James Wan is just the guy who's figured that math out. Like, yeah, I'd rather cheat 5 times and have that jail cell moment or that children therapy tape moment rather than like worrying about the ins and outs of she doesn't wake up with like, you know, a bruised fucking elbow when she's parkouring down fire escapes and beating the shit out of an adult cop. Who cares? Who cares? In this movie, I forgive more than most because I think the reveal is better than most.
Yeah, I agree.
But James Wan, I'm on to you, you fucking cheater. You goddamn cheater. No, it's neither here nor there. It's a fucking great movie. I thought it was super fun. And again, everything should be in service of making... This is the kind of horror movie, to your point. This is about being fun. Mm-hmm. This is the carnival ride movie. This is not the deep, dark despair of the human condition kind of horror. This is a gag movie.
This is,
and so everything should be in service of that top bill mission, and it is. And I think this movie over-delivers across the board.
I think so, too.
All right, Alex. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was just saying you're on the ride.
No, it's fine. You took over my body. It's fine. You're the Gabriel. It's fine.
That would be completely logical at this point, yes.
All right, Alex. What was the most messed up moment in Malignant to you?
Oh, man. It's the reveal when they go into, like, because they show it through, like, the plastic in the like, before times thing. And then they show, like, the actual video of him, like, hey. You're like, whoa.
Yeah.
That is quite the, that's quite the cyst. All right.
Yeah, you got some calamine for that? What's going on? That is just insane. It's one of those great images of madness. Awesome. And the fact that it's a kid that we've been talking to in the tapes, that's great. I'll tell you, okay, so my most messed up moment in Malignant has to be, because at the end, Gabriel's running rampage, right? Flipping beds, smashing people. At one point, it's revealed to her, as they're trying to call to her through the ether, right? When she's in the sunken place or whatever the fuck.
Right.
And she goes, Gabriel's been feeding on your children. So there's that moment earlier when the husband's like, how many babies you gonna kill inside of you? And you're just like, God, what a piece of shit. Only to find out every time she's gotten pregnant, Gabriel, for sustenance and through jealousy, has been eating the babies that are within her.
Metal.
To keep him going. That moment is a fucking kick in the dick of the highest order. You're just like, oh my God. And that's what summons her back to actually fight and cage Gabriel, is that she realizes he has been feasting on her hopes and dreams and future children. That's fucking hardcore. That is a brutally messed up moment for certain.
Agreed. Very good.
So, Alex, final summation on Malignant.
Look, I think Malignant is... I don't think... There's nothing I came to the movie expecting other than just to be entertained, and that's exactly what I got. James Wan is incredible. James Wan's a great filmmaker.
The man,
like,
dude.
There's no filmmaker, to your point earlier, there's no filmmaker who does this better than him because he gets away with... Like, he can get away with a lot because he's making a really good movie. I think the level of entertainment you feel when you're watching one of these movies is... it's undeniable. And I think... He's not trying to do a lot of like, there's not a ton of world building. Like, there's enough world building. I think this is like a key component here is like, he's not trying to overcomplicate his movies. He's just trying to entertain you with this very basic horror premise. And that's all I needed. That's all I really ever need from these guys.
Yeah.
So,
well, there's a concept, right? The more that we know, the less interesting it'll be. And he understands that assignment crystal clear. Right? The more he explains all this away and tries to make it fit logically, that's a hard fucking bridge to cross, right? Just make it fun, right? And I think The Conjuring is probably a better horror movie. I think that one with the family attack, and I think it just achieves a little more in the scare department. This, to me, is my favorite James Wan movie, though. Like, this is a true love letter to the kind of insane horror movies that we're starting to get again, to be fair. But this was kind of right there on that upsurge of the new golden age of horror we're in. And also, this one hit during COVID when we all needed something to cheer about. We needed something to be happy about. That COVID feeling of like being trapped in your house really made this movie play much better in my mind than like going and seeing it in a theater. I felt the claustrophobia in my own life. I think this is a very incredible and memorable film. I dug the shit out of it.
It's cool, man. I dug it. What's there not to like?
That's it for Malignant on the New Year, New Me curation here in January for the Messed Up Movies Podcast. We hope you guys are having fun. If you want more of this good time, go to the Messed Up Movies Podcast Patreon. Support the show over there. It means the world to us. Join our community. Come, be absorbed into our body. We'll let you take over. You can run our bulbous bodies around backwards. It'll be a hoot. Let's do it. Make sure you subscribe to the Misfit Parade YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to the newsletter at misfitparade.net. We are shooting the next segment of our first feature film, Mr. Cream Jean's Hidey Hole, this month. So stay tuned to all that, man. It's going to be a good time. 5-star ratings and reviews, TikToks, Reels, Shorts, Clips, whatever. Send it to your friend, man. Let them know we're here. Let them know about the new version of the show. That would mean the world to us more than anything. We love you guys. We'll see you Wednesday for Filmmaker Friday.